Hello friends, thank you for joining me today. Today is episode 145. I'm Kathie Rotz, and today we're going to think differently about mindsets and the words that we choose. Thank you to my friend Melissa for today's question. She messaged me and said, hey, are there any John Maxwell books or other books that I'd recommend, or even podcasts related to mindsets and how different ways of saying something can have an impact on us? Oh yes, there is, and I'm so glad you asked. I have resources ready to share with you, but before I dive into the book recommendations or the podcasts, let's talk a little bit about our brain, okay? What we say and how we say it is so critically important, especially when we say it to ourselves. Our brains do not know the difference between a fact or a joke. It doesn't know the difference between a fact or a made-up story. Whatever we think, whatever we fabricate is taken literally. Our brains take things literally. If we say something or even think it, our brain's going to deliver success to us based on what we're saying or thinking. It will bring us what we want. And if it comes out of our mouth or comes out of our mind, well, that's what we want, right? Well, is it really what we want? Let's take a look at this. Earlier this week, I did a Teach Me Tuesday video on my Facebook page. I also did a TikTok video related to the same thing. It was all about the word lose. If we lose something, I mean, by definition, if I lose something, I want to find it. Years ago, I had my whole life on a jump drive, and I lost it. And to this day, there's a few files on it that I wish I had. I searched. The moment I realized it was missing, I went home from work because I was so frantic. I even called stores where I think I left my little pouch that had the jump drive in it. When I lose something, I want to find it. So why then do I say that I want to lose weight? What? No, I don't want to find any weight that I might lose. But my brain is taking the word literally. And many times when I lose weight, it's amazing how I find it a few weeks later. I don't want to lose weight to find it. I want to release weight. I want to release it out there for nobody to find. Choose our words wisely, right? You know, some other times I hear other people say, and sometimes I might even say it or think it, even though I'm trying to be more in tune with what I'm saying, sometimes this comes out, especially if I'm making a joke. I'll say things like, oh, I'm so dumb. Or, oh yeah, I'm slow. I'm not that bright. No, don't even joke around with that. Don't let that come out of your mouth. Don't let that come out of your mind. Don't think it. You will be who you say you are. And I know that's not who we want to be. Now, another example that Melissa gave me was the word or the phrase, I hope. Hope is not a strategy. It's kind of like the phrase, I'll try. I'll try to do that. I'll try to get that done on time. I love the quote by my friend Yoda. Yoda is the little green guy from the movie Star Wars. He says, do or do not. There is no try. It's so true. It's so true. I really love also, I guess, how my husband John handles the word hope. Now, hope is a powerful word in a certain context, but hope can also be a very passive word. And many times when we use it because we're hoping, well, I hope I can get that new job. I hope I can get what I want. I hope this all works out. That is almost, well, it's a passive word, and it almost puts the ownership on somebody else to bring us the success that we want. John always says, take the E off the end and get moving. Make it happen. Hop to it. We don't hope, we hop. Hop to it. Make it happen. Get moving. Do the actions that we need to do to get what we want. How we think is a habit. We need to break the habit. Melissa was right in asking for other resources. You need to consume your mind with these new ideas until your brain adapts to these new thoughts and behaviors. We learned how to think a long time ago, and many times how we think is passed down amongst generations. Now we are at an age where we choose how we want to think. We choose who we want to be. And we might need some resources to help us a little bit. So I have a stack of books. If you're watching me on the video, I'll be able to show you some books, but I am going to copy these books and podcasts into the notes of both the podcast that you're listening to as well as the YouTube video. So no need to take notes. You can copy paste later. The first book I want to share with you is so treasured because this is the book that began my life change. It's called Thinking for a Change by John Maxwell. The subtitle says 11 Ways Highly Successful People Approach Life and Work. This was the first Maxwell book I ever bought. It's actually the first book I ever fully read in my entire life. I was addicted. Thinking for a Change. Now you can read this title a few different ways. It could be Thinking for a Change, or it could be Thinking for a Change. Wherever you want to put the accent, however you want to read it. There's a lot of power here in talking about our thoughts. Now, another John Maxwell book is called How Successful People Think. And actually, on the back, it even has a little note here. It's derived from material previously published in Thinking for a Change. So if you have both books and you read them both, you might see some commonality going on. Another powerful book to just get us thinking differently and see how other people think. How do successful people think? Well, I give you a hint. They think differently. Okay, here's another book that I've been into lately. I listened to it on my Audible while I was running, and now I am reading it. Wow, I love listening to books on Audible, but now that I'm reading it, I'm getting so much more. I'm reading things that I don't remember hearing when I listened to the book. Which makes sense, right? We kind of daydream when we're listening. I'm taking notes, I've got my pen out, and I'm not very far along in the book because I'm really taking my time to get through it. It's called Think Like a Monk by Shetty. I've done some TikTok videos on it as well. Wow, to get into the mind of a monk and why they think certain ways, why they do certain practices, it's pretty powerful. The subtitle here is Train Your Mind for Peace and Purpose Every Day. Highly recommend it. Another one is just simply called Mindset. Well, there we go, by Dweck. Mindset, the new psychology of a success, how we can learn to fulfill our potential. This one, Carol gets a little scientific. Maybe she gets a lot scientific. A lot of good stuff here to really, this one I read a while ago. This one's been out a while, but it really helped transition me. She talks a lot about growth mindset versus scarcity mindset. A lot of good lingo that we hear in the world today came from that book. Okay, now the next two books that I'm going to share with you are not really thought books or mindset books, they're habit books. The first book here is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Wow, of all the habit books I've read, he has really nailed it well, and nailed it in a way that makes it really easy to take his suggestions and put them into our daily habits. Since we're changing our thinking and our processing, we need to change habits. The other one that I recommend is called Slight Edge. Slight Edge is written by Jeff Olson. I read this a while ago, Turning Simple Disciplines into Massive Success and Happiness. It's all about just making a little bit of a tweak, a 1% tweak, that will give you the slight edge in success. A lot of great habits are recommended in this book and a lot of great routines throughout your day. So you'll take your morning routine or your evening routine to just think about truly what you want to be focusing on when your brain is at its best. Okay, so there's the list of books that, I don't know, how many did I mention? 1, 2, 3, 6. 6 books. Maybe that's a good start, right? When you need more, let me know. Well, let's talk about some podcasts. All right, I love to listen when I'm running or when I'm driving, so podcast is another great option. Now, The number one podcast that I absolutely recommend is called Thinking Differently with Kathie Rotz. So if you're listening on my podcast channel right now, don't leave this channel, because this is exactly what my mission is. My goal, my passion is to challenge your thinking and challenge your habits so that you're more efficient and fully empowered in your life. So that is my focus every episode, to somehow talk about how we need to be thinking differently, or how some other people have been thinking differently. Now, other podcasts that I personally listen to and are obsessed with, well, one of them is called the Ed Mylett Show. Ed Mylett is sometimes he interviews people and sometimes he just talks, and he is pretty intense. He's fun. And he's got some great insight. Another one is called Kwik Brain with Jim Kwik. Kwik is spelled Kwik. And he has a lot of scientific biology about our brains. Dr. Amen is another one who has a lot of that scientific biology about how our brains are created and how they work. I get really geeky when it comes to that type of science. So Jim Kwik does a great job at converting that science into everyday uses. Another podcast is the Model Health Show with Shawn Stevenson. Now, Model Health Show, he talks a huge range of different health, whether it's our muscles or our gut or our food that we eat, or whatever health related, that the brain is included, okay? We need to keep our brain healthy as well. So he does have some episodes where he really dives into our mindsets and what we say, what we do, how we think. Now, there's Maxwell Leadership Podcast. Maxwell Leadership, or the Executive Leadership Podcast. There's two different podcasts. They always have some great resources out there in their episodes. And then Shetty, the author of Think Like a Monk, he's got a podcast too called On Purpose. He interviews many great people who talk about mindset and how we think and where we really want to go in life, what we can do to get there. How we think is definitely a habit that we learned when we were really young. Friends, it's time that we are all challenged to think differently. We are the only people who can help us get where we want to go. Take ownership of your success, my friends. Start growing by allowing yourself to be challenged. Read these books, listen to these episodes. Allow yourself to think differently. If you've liked this episode, I hope that you press like. And please subscribe to the channels. I hope also that this topic has challenged your thoughts and your habits so that you are more efficient and fully empowered. Be great today, my friends. Melissa, what do you think? Did I give you a place to start? I'll see you all next time.